What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 66 of UFO Buster Radio. This is Manny Moonraker, and I'm back. Unfortunately, last week we could not record, and if you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you might have seen a small complaint I had regarding the infamous internet TV and cable provider known as Frontier. Thanks to them and their skilled employees, instead of keeping me alive and going on my service as I requested, they actually went in and disconnected my connection to the internet world 10 days early. And of course, even though it wasn't my fault because I was clear as mud to them in putting in my request, I was still not allowed to get reconnection of service because that would mean that they would have to start a new account. And God forbid that they would have to do right for their error. But nonetheless, we are here now, episode 66, and we need to really get this year started, get the show running, and stay on top of this UFO nonsense. This UFO craziness.
Manny, we have a message from a listener.
That's right, I did get some messages. Now, before we jump into our MUFON story for today and the UFO news, which seems to be regurgitating every several weeks, I did get contacted by two individuals, and I just want to let you know that I'm back, I'm online, and I will be contacting you ASAP. And of course, I am referring to Jeff and Michael. I was looking at some of the content for Michael. Michael will get back to you, have you on the show in the near future, and you can tell us all about what it is you are discovering and you've published on YouTube as well. It's always great to have individuals who take the time to put together their observations and also copy them and pretty much produce a YouTube video, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to see what they're seeing. And Michael has done that exact same thing, and we will have him on here shortly. Also, there was one last item I wanted to cover before we get into the meat of the program today, and that is that in my absence, I actually published, or should I say created, some t-shirts. And not just t-shirts, there's some mugs, there was phone cases for iPhones, and some of the Android models as well. And no more than 24 hours after I posted it, I had one individual, which I assume is a listener, so hopefully this works. I had one individual who purchased one of the t-shirts. That very first person, I know what the sale was because I have an order number. However, I don't have contact information because that's not given to me. But if you have that order number and you contact me, I want to thank you, basically, for being the first person to grab on to that UFO Buster Radio merchandise, and I'd like to send you a little something. So email me at manny@ufobusterradio.com. You can direct message me through Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, or just send me the good old email, and I would like to send you a little something in appreciation of you being the very first person to purchase a UFO Buster Radio t-shirt. For everyone else, the link will be in the description if you want to check out what we have. I just finished uploading the new 4.2 FAR t-shirt, UFO Buster Radio, and I'm hoping to get a few more designs out before attending the Aurora event in Aurora, Texas in April. And we'll have more information about that as well coming. And I'm hoping that I can get one of the event coordinators on here like we did last year to talk about what's planned for this year, because apparently this year is going to be a whole lot bigger, more big names coming in related to ufology and current UFO topic and discussions. And like I said, it's supposed to be bigger, more entertaining, lots of information. So as a matter of fact, if you guys can get out there, anyone, Aurora, Texas, I believe it's the 21st and 22nd of April, come on out. What I'll do is, I did find a link to where you can purchase tickets. I'll have that on there on the description as well. That way, you get your ticket, you show up, we'll be sure to meet. You can come over to the UFO Buster Radio section find us in the audience, because I tell you what, personally last year I was so mesmerized and captivated by everything that was being presented and talked about that I really didn't do any mingling as part of the podcast. I was just there as a spectator, taking pictures, talking to the folks at the tables, and, it wasn't about the podcast then. It was just about me just being there, enjoying it. And it was a lot of fun. And I also had my kids with me there. My sons were with me, and they enjoyed it. And it's something that I know you guys would enjoy as well. It's a great atmosphere. Like I said, we'll try to get someone on from the Aurora, Texas Alien Encounter sometime before the show in April, so they can give you some info, updates, and kind of share with everyone what's going down. So now let's move on to the MUFON report.
Grab onto your probes. It is MUFON report time.
So this MUFON case story comes out of Circleville, Ohio. The population for the city is 13,314, and this particular case was investigated by Tim Kelly. This is MUFON case number 82064, and the headline on the MUFON website is Ohio Witness Describes UFO Warfare Overhead. According to the report, the witness and his mother were driving out of Columbus, moving south at around 9 p.m. on the 13th of February, when they actually noticed the incident they reported. And I quote, "I noticed a strange light appearing to hover in the distance. It is too big and too bright to be a star, yet nothing like a plane. My initial thoughts are, oh my God, I've seen this in videos online. It's a UFO. I take note of it and continue to keep my eye on it for over 30 minutes before I notice some strange activity." The activity that the individual is reporting is that there was a strange light in the sky that appeared at one point to be surrounded by airplanes. That's right, the original light was joined by an orb, and together they were surrounded by airplanes that were following along with them. Now, what's unique about this story is that the witnesses also report that from the ground underneath these objects and the airplanes that were surrounding them, there was also light illuminating upwards towards the objects. The witness also reported there were no thunderstorms and it was a clear night. So it wasn't entirely clear to them where this light was emanating from, because they noted it sure wasn't any kind of lightning or any strange natural phenomena. So at one point they noticed that the orb started to fade away, and I believe it's because they were driving away, so they might have gone too far from it. However, they did stop on the way on the road to get something to eat, and when they came back out, they came across the orb again. Both UFOs were in the vicinity close to their vehicle. They said when they saw the object again, it hovered for a brief while and then it moved northward. As the object flew vertically away from their vehicle, they noticed that the larger orb, the original orb, started to dim some, and as it flew over, they realized that there was a specific shape to it. It wasn't just a gigantic bright orb, it was actually boomerang shaped. The objects quickly vanished behind them as they drove away, and that pretty much came to the end of their incident. That really is where the story ends. The MUFON website has been, I guess, redesigned, and so you can't really go back. I used to be able to pull up tons and tons of reports, but now you have to log in, and so you can't really search by the case number. The story itself kind of ends with a little disclosure that they have in all their reports, which say that, most sightings can be explained as something man-made or a natural phenomena. But in this particular case, this is basically where the story ends, and that's when they see the objects disappear in their rear view mirror. So there really isn't anything else to add to this. Now, it is fascinating, of course, that they have these UFO sightings and these objects are surrounded by airplanes. So the question is, were they really airplanes? Because there is no report about hearing any kind of airplane engines or anything like that. And exactly how fast would they have been going in order to stay in view for such a long period of time? Or were these really drones? So we're not going to know The story doesn't have it, but again, it is a recent MUFON sighting, and if you go on there, you can see the last 20, and these sightings are happening constantly every day. People are reporting things to MUFON, and like I said, many of these have tons of media. Some have movies that they take. Some have a ton of pictures. Take a look at them, so that way you'll see. It's not just what you hear in the Daily News or the Daily Star or the UK Mirror. These are reports and sightings that are happening on a daily basis all around the world. So don't just depend on folks like me, Security Team 10, third phase of Moon. Don't depend on what you hear from us. Check it out yourself.
This is Mr. Wong. You listening to UFO Buster Radio with Manny Moonraker and a bigger O. You listen. They talk about flying saucer and little green men. Oh no. Again. Here they come. I gotta go. See ya. Bye-bye.
Anyway, speaking about the Daily Star online magazine. As you know, this magazine turns to put out a lot of UFO stories. This one was published on the 19th, and it is titled UFO Spotted as Huge Spaceship Almost Collides with Air Force Jet. Now normally, we would say, oh great, Air Force collision, that can't be good. But then when you look at which Air Force it is, it's a WTF story. Because the footage of this UFO almost colliding with this Air Force jet comes from nowhere other than Chile. That's right. The Chilean military is back at it again. In this particular story, the Chilean High Acrobatics Squad, which is kind of like the Blue Angels, except they're called the Halcones FAC. Okay, let me just clear that up because it's FACH. So it could be FAC, I don't know. Whatever tickles your funny bone, that's what they are. So apparently for this incident, the Fox were performing stunts above a crowd in Puerto Varas when a bizarre incident occurred, and one of the military planes, apparently there is a act where one of them just zooms upward into the sky and breaks away, and this disc-shaped UFO, from the angle in which the video was shot, actually comes pretty close to the Air Force's acrobatic plane. And to quote the story, this disc comes out of nowhere and narrowly appears to graze the airplane. The good thing about this report is that numerous people witnessed this at the air show last week, and they actually came forward to say that they had seen it, and some of them had video. So the video is linked onto the article, so take a look at it. It does look like an object comes through. It is a white disc-shaped object. Now, is it possible that this object was much lower or much higher than the airplane? Very much so. It's hard to say from the angle that it was shot. So it does look, from what you're seeing, that this does come close to the Chilean Air Force airplane. But again, it's all in the angles. So maybe hundreds of miles away, or maybe just a half a mile away from the actual airplane. The story, of course, ends right there. We really don't go into what the other witnesses were reporting. Like I said, the video is on there. Check it out. But it goes to show that we are, in many ways, closed away from these other societies that are experiencing these UFOs in their airspace. And kind of like my first assumption when the Chilean video first came out a few weeks ago was that a door was being opened. And now we're going to continue to see more evidence of UFO activity in Chile. And I guarantee you that this is going to spread out to the other countries, the other neighboring countries around Chile, where the rest of the people are going to get together and continue to push the envelope to get answers. So Robo O, why don't you tell everyone how they can contact us? and where they can see some of our stuff.
You can help the podcast out by hitting the like button, sharing, following, and writing awesome reviews about me, Robo-O. Don't forget to visit us at ufobusterradio.com.
Well, folks, this is it for today. This is our episode number 66. We're going to be back next week, and I am working really hard to get Manny's Blurb pushed into YouTube. You will know as soon as it's on there. We'll send it out through social media. And again, if you want to support the podcast, keep us alive, check out our merchandise in the link below. Or if you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else Robo-O tell you to go to, you'll see the link there as well. As always, keep your eye to the sky. We'll be back next week for number 67. Ciao.